Tom and Lisa Bilyeu are two of our close friends, and they're very successful entrepreneurs. They built a nutrition company, sold it for over $1 billion, and they have a very healthy and interesting relationship. And what I've found is that inside of network marketing, there can be some friction and dynamic between the needs of one partner in a relationship and another. And sometimes we don't communicate it as well as we should, or as often as we should, or as honestly as we should. And recently we had Tom speak at one of our women's events that we've held here at our studio in Las Vegas. And he talks about what was driving him and his insecurities about his relationship with Lisa, and the big aha that woke him up to having a more kind of successful, fulfilling, emotionally gratifying, amazing relationship. So I thought you would get some benefit from that. So check out what Tom Bilyeu has to say about how he strengthened his relationship with his wife.
I really felt a responsibility to make my wife wealthy. When I went and asked for her father's blessing to marry her, he said no. And he was like, basically, you're not going to be able to take care of her. He didn't say dumb, but he's like, you're a young kid. You don't show a lot of promise. And pointedly, he actually asked this exact question: how do you plan to take care of my daughter? Because he took himself from a literal mountain village. Whatever you're imagining, it's much smaller than that. Like, his story is unbelievable. In an island that I had never heard of called Cyprus, it is a desert island off the coast of Syria. I'm not kidding. And this guy, at 11, goes deep into the mountains, away from the only tiny village he'd ever known, has to take care of himself, put himself through school. It's the craziest story ever. Ends up working his way up, running one of the largest shipping companies in the world. So I, as a broke, undereducated kid from Tacoma, meet this guy who's made himself successful from absolutely nothing. And he just doesn't see it in me. And he's like, this is going to go nowhere. How do you plan to take care of my daughter? And I said, look, I know what you see is a kid who's broke and it's going to make your daughter poor. But I promise you, sir, one day I am going to make your daughter a wealthy woman. Now, when somebody makes that call like Babe Ruth, and they have nothing to show for it. My wife was working at the time, or fiance was working at the time. I was not. I did not have a job. My only job at the time was to make my wife a sandwich every day, and she would come home and be sweating as to whether or not I would actually have the sandwich ready on time. This is real. And I was just in a really dark place at that point in my life. But I Babe Ruth it. I call my shot. I'm going to make your daughter wealthy. But now I get into this spiral of whoa, I'm not doing the things I need to do to actually make this woman wealthy. And now me failing isn't just about me. I'm going to drag her
Why
down.
was wealthy so important?
I'll tie this all together,
Okay.
and then I'll explain that. So I don't have the emotional language to realize what I actually mean is control over my own life. What I think it is about getting wealthy. And so I will learn the lesson. Don't worry, this has a happy ending where I realize chasing money is a waste of time. But at the time, to tell this story with any honesty, it was like, I have to make her rich. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going like crazy, and I'm working insane hours, burning relationship capital. My wife, of course, just wants her husband. But I can't see that. All I can see is I promised I was going to make you rich. I'm going to make you rich. And so I'm working around the clock. I'm stressing out. I come home. I'm like, you can't even ask me about work. We had a rule. Literally, don't ask me about work. And so she now starts to feel super disconnected. All she wants is to go on a vacation. I just want to make her rich. And so I am so obsessed with I have to work around the clock, and I'm doing this for you. And she finally convinces me after 6.5 years to take a vacation for one night. So I'm like, okay, I'll take a vacation for one night. I will spend money on this hotel. I will take time away from work, because I worked 7 days a week. And I get up that morning, packed, ready to go. And I'm like, you ready? And she's like, I just want to have a cup of tea. I'm like, hold on. You want to have a cup of tea? We need to go. And she's like, what do you mean? I just want to have a cup of tea. So anyway, I'm like, we need to leave. We need to leave right now. Bring the cup of tea, pour it in a thermos or something. Come on. And so these are the words we're saying. I just want to have a cup of tea. We need to get to the hotel. We get in the car, we're driving, we're yelling, we're screaming, like neither of us want to be going on this vacation. The one vacation she's gotten me to take in 6.5 years, and we're arguing about this cup of tea. We are driving up the 101 to get to, I think we're going to Santa Barbara. And on the freeway, I'm like, this is stupid, we shouldn't be going. I turned the car around.
Oh boy.
We're now heading back. I'm like, why would we go on vacation? This doesn't make any sense. And we're driving back. And for the last hour of this argument, a voice in my head is screaming, there's no way this is about a cup of tea. There's no way this is about a cup of tea. There's no way this is about a cup of tea. So finally, as we're now heading back home, I pull over and I'm like, okay, this isn't about a cup of tea. So what is this about? What are we really arguing about? And in that moment, my wife and I learned the most incredible, I have the chills right now just thinking about this moment. We realized we had to speak in insecurities. And the second we could speak in insecurities, then we could get to the truth. And so we created this rule in our life. You never argue about the tea. What's this really about? And so I said, every anxiety I have is triggered by taking this vacation. That I'm not going to provide for you, that I'm not going to be a man that you can respect, that your father's going to be right about me. And so for me to take this time off and spend money that I'm trying to save, and the hotel will let us check in at 11 a.m. I called ahead to make sure we could get early check-in, to make sure we could get every penny's worth of this vacation, and you just want to have a cup of tea. And so I don't feel like you understand what me taking this vacation means. Like my whole manhood hangs in the balance. And then she was like, well, I feel like you don't want to be with me, that you just want to chase money, you just want to get rich, you don't even see me anymore, you don't even know who I am, we're not connecting, we're drifting apart as husband and wife, I feel totally disconnected from you, you're chasing something that feels like it's leaving me behind. And I was like, oh my God. I had no idea. I was so absorbed in how I felt about this. You were absorbed in how you felt about it. Neither of us were communicating. So we said, okay, it seems apparent to me that if one of us is getting angry, an insecurity has been triggered, and that if we can sink down immediately to the insecurity and just be like, oh, you've triggered this insecurity. I don't feel strong, I don't feel powerful, you don't feel beautiful, you don't feel loved, I don't feel seen, whatever. But like now we really get to it and we talk about it, and that changed our lives.
So it changed their lives, and I think that really is interesting, this idea of speaking from your insecurities instead of always trying to be right or trying to convince the other person or any of those types of things, being able to communicate openly with respect to each other and not making the other person the bad guy and all of that. It's not worth having an incredible business and a very difficult home life. So there are ways to be able to pick up on strategies that you can use to communicate, because men and women, we're different. You know, people in relationships of any sort are different. And, you know, what's different is what makes us great. But we need to learn how to communicate our needs, our goals, our dreams, our vision, and to be able to give space for your partner or your family member to go after what they want to go after as well. Okay? So I hope this kind of landed well for you. And there's something that you can use to apply to your relationships. Okay? Use that. And I'll see you tomorrow.